Okay, Vikings-Bears this weekend. Um, I'm pretty nervous because, you know, this one really is the season. I mean, the season does hang in the balance for the Vikings tomorrow. If they lose, you know, I don't know what their percentages are for making the playoffs, but they plummet because then you'd be obviously behind the Cardinals and you'd be behind the Bears again. And I don't know what the tiebreakers look like with that, but you maybe wouldn't be able to jump the Bears again. So, yeah, very, very big game. I'm nervous. Last week the Bears break their losing streak. They blew out Houston. Um, you know, kind of two minds of it on that thing. Like, on one hand, you never really want to face the team that's on the big losing streak because they're due. Like, NFL teams don't have losing streaks. Like, what was it, 6 in a row that the Bears lost? That doesn't happen. So, when that happens, they're due. Like, even with the Jacksonville game, like, Jacksonville was due to maybe get a win. They didn't get the win, thankfully, but, so on one hand, it's like, well, we don't have to worry about them being on a big losing streak and being due for a win. That could be just their one win the rest of the year, for all we know. But on the other hand, it's like, well, the Bears looked really bad for a month and a half, and yeah, it was just Houston, but if you put a 36-7 up on somebody, that's an eye opener, no matter what. So, I don't write off the Bears. I mean, hell, I picked the Bears to win the division this year because I grossly overestimated what Nick Foles still had in the tank. But we beat the Bears in Soldier Field, which you can say what you want about what the Bears have been this year, what Nick Foles was. We know as Vikings fans what it's like to win in Chicago. It's really daunting, and it almost never happens. So I don't care what quality of team you beat or how you beat them. It matters, and so just from that you would think, oh, okay, well now we can come home and beat them. But this has been a season where the Vikings have not played very well at home, and this is our last one. This is our last home game of the year, and of the 7 home games we played to this point, we really have not played very well at home. We played, we took care of Detroit pretty well, and that's about it. Like, obviously we got blown out by Green Bay, blew that Tennessee game, destroyed by Atlanta, blew the game against Dallas, and barely beat Carolina and Jacksonville. So we have not been very good at home this year. I think we've had, of all the teams in the league that have had their home field advantage wiped out by COVID and not having fans, I think that's hit the Vikings as hard as any of them. And it's shown on the field. Like, I don't think we would have what's our home record, 3-4 so far. We would not be 3-4 at home if not for the no fans factor. Now you can flip it and say, well, maybe we wouldn't have won a couple of those road games, but all I know is we're a much better team at home than we've shown this year. And hell, if we lost this one, then we'd have a losing record at home. I can't even think of the last time the Vikings had a losing home record for a season. Probably, maybe 2014, but we might have to go back even to 2011 to have the last time we had a losing home record. We can win. What makes me nervous is the Bears' defense is still what they are. That's still the defense that has really dominated us in many games over the last few years. And we handled them okay at Soldier Field, but the offensive line has kind of regressed, maybe to say the least. Last 2 games, the offensive line has not been good. They were bad against Jacksonville, and they were really, really bad against Tampa Bay. So, if we don't turn that around real quick, we know who we're facing on the other side. Khalil Mack and all those guys. It's not like the offense lit it up at Soldier Field, but we were decent enough. But our defense was also really, really good that game. So, I would say, that was when our defense was playing the best they've played this year during that 3-game win streak. They've kind of gone back the other way, and a lot of it's because it's just attrition. Kendricks is not going to play again, and that's going to be huge. But there's nothing you can do about it. I don't think Kendricks plays again this year because it's at this point, anytime Mike Zimmer says something is a tweak, you can just assume it's a season-ending injury because, like Alex Zimmer, but what the fuck, man? Daniil Hunter was supposed to have a tweak, and he's out for the year. Eric Kendricks supposed to have a tweak, and he's missing the biggest games of the season. And you could say, well, maybe they're just being real cautious holding him out for the Saints. He ain't going to play against the Saints. You know that. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. Eric Kendricks knows it. He ain't playing against the Saints. He's not playing the rest of the year. But what can you do? Like, he's not going to be out there. You've played the whole season shorthanded, and you just gotta roll with what you got. I mean, the defense for the most part was good enough to win last week, so you can look at it that way. That even without all these guys, you still played decent enough on defense to where you should have had a chance, and we won't rehash the Bailey and referee crap. Boy, I got sick this week of seeing the number of people out there carrying the water for the NFL and the officiating. Like, refs never decide games. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. All the time. They do it in every sport. It's like, stop carrying the water for the league and protecting the shield. It's like, we saw what happened last week with the officials. But anyway, so hopefully we won't have to deal with the refs this week, but we can't count on that, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, hopefully the offense is productive. I mean, Rudy's going to be out again, but we didn't really miss Rudy that much last week. Frankly, I'd rather have Irv Smith over Rudy if I had to make a pick, just because of how good Rudy is at run blocking, and I think he's a little more explosive as a receiver too. So, hopefully we can get a productive game on the ground, decent game from Kirk, maybe get a little more downfield stuff going, although that depends on the offensive line. If the offensive line stinks against the Bears, it's going to be hard to get that stuff going, because that's just how it is. You can't do those long developing plays if your offensive line is getting badgered. And hopefully Kubiak is prepared for this. I thought they did a pretty good job against the Bears in the first meeting this year, but that, again, that was kind of a different scenario with how our offensive line was playing. That little improvement they had when Cleveland came in there, that's gone the other way. The last couple of games they've really struggled, and if they have a third straight bad game, it's going to be really, really tough. That could cost them the game if that happens. The defense, like Trubisky had a big game last week, and you can't count on us being able to handle Trubisky because we could barely handle Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon led a game-tying touchdown drive against us. We got daggered by Andy Dalton. It's just the way it is this year. We're gonna struggle on defense to at least to a degree. So I mean, hopefully we can keep the game maybe in the low 20s, and then we got a shot. But I mean, it's hard to see us, putting up 30 plus on the Bears. But depending on how our defense plays, we might have to. And of course, you can't count on the special teams because the special teams has been screwing up big time all year. That'll be the other big story for the game is we've stuck with Dan Bailey. I mean, I guess there's reasons, just for like COVID restrictions and everything. It would maybe been hard to bring in another kicker this week on that short notice like that. But is any Vikings fan going to feel secure the first time Dan Bailey goes out there tomorrow for any kick, whether it's PAT or a field goal? I'm sure not. I hope that he turns it around. I hope that one of the stories of the last 3 games is that Dan Bailey has a big redemption and hits big kicks and gets us into the playoffs. That would be great. I don't I don't trust that it's going to happen, but um, you know, I'm going to be nervous. Everyone's going to be nervous with Bailey. And you can't lose this game. This isn't you know this is a must-win game. I mean, yeah, you play the Saints then in 5 days on the road. That's a more like high-profile game because it's a Christmas Day game, and you know it's national TV and everything. But and Drew Brees is coming back this weekend, so he's probably going to be playing that game. But you know, technically, that's probably the least important of the 3 remaining games. Now, you want to win out. Like, if you win out, you're going to get in because the Cardinals are not going to win out. Fingers crossed. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Let's go Eagles tomorrow. We need Jalen Hurts to have another big game and pull off the upset of the Cardinals. And we don't want what happened with the Giants to happen with the Eagles, where they look great one week, and then the next week they look like crap against the Cardinals. So we need the Eagles to win, and I'm of the opinion, get to week 17 alive. That's the only goal, because Vikings can only control what they can control. But if you get to week 17 alive, you're playing the Tigers, the Lions, possibly without Stafford. They might not even be playing Stafford at that point. And the Cardinals have to play the Rams, who are going to be fighting for seeding, maybe even for home field. The Rams will win that game, I think, and we would beat the Lions. So if you get in there, if you get into week 17 alive, I think we got a great chance to get in the playoffs. But you got to get there first. Now the odds of them being eliminated by week 17 are fairly slim. I think they would have to lose both and the Cardinals win both to be eliminated already. But and the Cardinals play the 49ers next week, so that's also a losable game for them. Cardinals could lose all 3 games, or so could the Vikings. It's the way the season is. But, again, all you can do is control what's in front of you. Beat the Bears however you have to. If it's a 3-point game, if it's an ugly win, it doesn't matter. Just, survive. Just survive till week 17. And maybe you'll get lucky with the Cardinals losing a game. I'm going to hate it if that fucking Hail Mary that Kyler Murray hit against Buffalo a few weeks back, if that's the difference, it's missing the playoffs. Because we've already had that where Cardinals Hail Mary is the reason the Vikings missed the playoffs. We saw that before. We don't need to see it again. But again, it's gonna be tough to beat the Bears. They've been a tormentor of ours for the last few years. We got them at Soldier Field. We got to get them again. Got to sweep them. You sweep them, it's a 2-team race for the playoffs, because the Bears are done if you win tomorrow. They're not a factor. So it's us and the Cardinals if that happens, no matter what the Cardinals do tomorrow. And again, just get to week 17 alive, and take our chances. I mean, it kind of would seem like this is going to have to be a season where it comes down to probably the last game and probably the last quarter, because there's no way this season ends without a few more rides on the roller coaster.